Why are learning targets important? Framework for teaching. The learning target guides instruction across the gradual release of responsibility. A well-written learning target ensures that the teachers can explicitly teach a model the important performance criteria necessarily for learning, provide appropriate practice opportunities, and assist in monitoring students. A progress and sharing purposeful, actionable feedback with students. Direction. Students need clear step-by-step process with check-in activities and ongoing assessment and feedback that support them towards clear goals. Direction. Clarity. Learning shouldn't be a guessing game. The greatest student achievement is supported by clarity of instruction. From Haiti, 2012. Understanding. Students should be able to read an article what you want to them to know, understand, and be able to do. Assessment. Well-designed learning target provides the performance described mastery. Components of effective learning targets. Visible, posted in a classroom, and easy to see. Understandable, written in language students can understand. Aligned to standards. Standards are unpacked to describe students' proficiency so they can meet the standards goals over time. Actionable. Clearly outline the performance criteria that must be understood and the methods of demonstration to show understanding. Scaffolded. Incrementally build on previous learning and provide options for students and varied levels of mastery. Gradually released, the teacher explicitly teaches and models the demonstration of learning in whole group, creates opportunities for practice in small groups, and provides a way for students to individually show they have mastered it independently. Measurable, performance criteria can be monitored and assessed through multiple methods including observation, conferencing, reading, writing, and collaborative work. Student-owned. Students can articulate what they are learning and can explain how performance criteria. Unit 1C, Introduction to the Appropriate Methods. General categories of assessment methods or instruments below. Written response instruments. Next. Objective test. Next. Multiple choice. And then true or false. Next. Matching or short answers. Test essays. Examinations and checklists. Objective tests are appropriate for assessing the various levels of hierarchy of educational objective. Multiple choice tests in particular can be constructed in such a way to test higher order thinking skills. Essay, when properly planned, can test in particular the areas of application analysis, synthesis, and judgment. Example, write an essay about the first EDSA revolution. Must be poor. The better, write an essay about the first EDSA revolution giving a focus on the main characters of the revolution and their respective roles. In the second essay question, the assessment foci are narrowed down to A. The main characters of the event. B. The roles of each character in the revolution, leading to the ouster of the incumbent president at the teacher wishes to see what the students are supposed to write. Product rating skills. Teachers often asked to rate products. Examples of products that are frequently rated in education are books, reports, maps, charts, diagrams, notebooks, essays, and creative endeavors of all sorts. An example of this classic handwriting skill used in California Achievement Test Form W 1957. Performance test. What the most frequently used measurement instruments in the checklist. It consists a list of behavior that makes up certain type of performance. It is used to determine whether not an individual behaves in a certain way. For example, performance checklist in solving a mathematics problem. Behavior. Next, the identifies the given information. Third, identifies what is being. Fourth, uses variables to replace the unknown. Fifth, therefore formulates the equation, performing algebraic operations, and obtains answer. And last, check if the answer makes sense. Oral questioning. Traditional Greeks used oral questioning extensively as an assessment method. It is an appropriate assessment method when the objectives are: third, to assess the student's stock knowledge. And last, to determine the student's ability to communicate ideas in current verbal sentences. Observation and self-reports. Tally sheets, a device often used by teachers to record the frequency of student behaviors students presented to the subject of study. These are useful supplementary methods when used in conjunction with oral questioning and performance tests. That would be all. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, I am Mikkee Perol from BSIE ICT 2B to present Unit 1C Introduction, A Clear Purpose. My presentation for today is the first component of high quality, which is purpose. Assessment processes and result serve clear and appropriate purpose. Having a pure purpose means having a meaningful direction. There are 4 useful questions in examining an improvement, and these are: first, who did we assist? Second, who will use the information? And third, how will they use it, what information and what they feel is required? And this question will guide teachers in making high quality lists. Now, the first clear purpose of high quality accessibility. It is a design to serve the specific information needs of intended users, such as what content should be taught to the students. In a clear purpose, there are 2 First competency is to identify the key users to classroom assessment information and know what their information needs are. Second is to understand informative and summative assessment. Use as when known to use each. The secondary purpose of high quality assessment is to understand formative and summative assessment. Summative assessment aims to evaluate students' learning and academic achievement at the end of the term, year, or semester by comparing it against a universal standard or school benchmark. Summative assessment often have high point value, take place under controlled conditions, and therefore have more visibility. Summative assessment examples: end of the term or midterm, cumulative work over an extended period, such as a final project or creative portfolio. Third, end of unit or chapter test. Last, standardized tests that demonstrate school accountability are used for pupil admissions like SATs, CATS, GCSES, and A-level. 2. Informative assessment is more diagnostic than evaluative. It is used to monitor pupil learning style and ability, to provide ongoing feedback, and allow educators to improve and adjust their teaching methods for students to improve their learning. Most informative assessment strategies are quick to use and fit seamlessly into the instruction process. The information gathered is rarely marked or graded. Scripted feedback by accompany formative assessment to let students know whether they have mastered an outcome or whatever they require more practice. Formative assessment examples: impromptu quizzes or anonymous voting, short comparative assessment to see how pupils are performing against their peers. Third, 1-minute papers on specific subject matter. Fourth, lesson exit tickets to summarize what pupils have learned. Silence classroom polls. And last, ask students to create visualization or doodle map what they learned. These are the formative assessment cycle. Examine pupil, inform teacher knowledge, and then inform instruction and teaching methods, then set tasks. This is a cycle for formative assessment. 2. Drive instruction. Drive instruction, a pretest informs teachers on what the students know and do not know at the outset, setting and direction of course. Drives instruction and affects learning. Assessments in an integral part of teaching and learning. Purposely, assessment practices help teachers and students understand where they have been, where they are, and where they might go next. 3. Inform students of their progress. Through feedback from teachers, students to become aware of this transcendence. 4. Inform teaching practice. Feedbacks from instructors are important, for it reflects on students' accomplishments. 5. Assessment drives learning. What on how students learn depends on a major extent on how they think they will be assessed. Assessment practices will send their mixed signals to students. What to study, how to study, and the relative time to spend on concepts and skills in a course. That's all for clear purpose topic. Next one is Unit 1's introduction to clear and appropriate. What are the learning targets? Learning targets are short-term goals or statements. Your learning targets should clearly state that you expect students to know and to be able to do at the end of the lessons. What does learning target mean? Learning targets are concrete goals written in a student-friendly language that clearly describe what students will learn and be able to do by the end of a class, unit, project, or even course. They begin with "I can" statement and are posted in classroom. What is an example of learning target? Learning targets are about the concepts students will understand and skills they can apply as a result of a lesson. Non-example, I can work in a small group to read and discuss an article about westward expansion. Learning target in a lesson plan. Learning target is a statement of intended learning for student based on the standards. A learning target specifies and unpacks the objective and spells out what students will able to do during, after the lesson or the lesson series. What What is learning target? A learning target is a statement of intended learning per student based on the standards. A learning target specifies and unpacks the object and spells out what students will be able to do during and after the lesson or series. Learning targets are student-friendly language and are specific to the lesson for the day or span of days directly connected to assessment. Learning target also includes performance criteria or demonstration of learning. Performance criteria or demonstration of learning or DOL. The performance criteria for the activity, project, assignment, or process outlines what the student demonstrates to show the teacher the degree to which they understand and can do the learning target. The teacher can assess the DOL or the demonstration of learning through observation, conferring, or evaluation using a rubric, checklist, or the other criteria. Performance criteria can be demonstrated orally through conferring or presenting, or in writing through a quiz project or a test on etc. How learning target different than an objective. Objectives are for teachers, learning targets are for students. A lesson plan objective is a clear statement of purpose for the whole lesson that spells out what the teacher expects the students to be able to do after the lesson is completed and determines the activities the students engage in. The objective can be either a behavioral objective which defines what the student can do at the end of the lesson, or a knowledge objective that defines what the student should know at the end of the lesson. Why are learning targets important? Framework for teaching. The learning target guides instruction across the gradual release of responsibility. A well-written learning target ensures that the teachers can explicitly teach a model the important performance criteria necessarily for learning, provide appropriate practice opportunities, and assist in monitoring student a progress and sharing purposeful, actionable feedback with students. Direction. Students need clear step-by-step process. We check in